you think I'm racist? He can't answer it.
He said short answer because you're white. You just weren't listening.
But do you see what you're doing with the term racism when you like apply it to some, like every person who is white? You're taking away its power. You're taking away from the people.
Dana, it's only hurting your feelings. It's not actually hurting you.
Shut the fuck up, Jolly.
Dude, it doesn't hurt my feelings. Trust me. I'm not like that. People have said some pretty shitty things to me, but you saying all white people are racist does not hurt my feelings.
So let me explain. Let me explain. You don't let me get to the end of my sentence. I said it's only hurting your feelings. It's not actually hurting you. When people say white people are racist, still quantifiably across America in all systems, white people have the advantage. So no matter how many people say that white people are racist,
and nobody has answered my.
It doesn't hurt us.
He said because you are white, that's why he thinks you're racist.
Correct. It doesn't hurt us. It doesn't hurt us as white people. It just hurts your feelings. That's it. Nothing else.
No. Let's keep me out of the equation. Let's keep all white people out of the equation. What I am saying is that by
Don't talk about white people.
Huh?
Let's talk about other people. Go ahead, Dana.
Oh, okay. So my point being is that it is harmful to the people, to the black people, to the indigenous people that actually do experience racism in a more that actually experience it like in a really bad way, as opposed to just calling every white person racist.
Attention. All black indigenous people of color, your representative Dana has spoken for you and told us what hurts you.
Dude, you talk about it all the time. No, what I'm saying is when you dilute a word in such a way, and this could go for any word. It could go for anti-Semitism, the way that it's being diluted as of now, where anybody who talks up against Israel is now labeled as being anti-Semitic. I'm saying when you take a word and you dilute it like that, it takes away its true meaning and its power. It could be for any word, right? It could be for anything. That's my point.
Like say patriot.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree. Like patriot should be somebody who truly fights for their country, like sacrifices for their country, right? And like believes in it.
Not you. Not you and JT.
You don't know what I've sacrificed. You don't know jack shit about me.
Y'all have to understand that Jolly is just begging to divide.
Yes. And conquer. Right, JT?
So I guess my point is, do you get what I'm saying? Address what I'm saying. You are diluting the word when you use it all of the time like that.
Yeah. No, I got what you were saying 3 minutes ago before you started.
Okay, so address it in a real kind of way. Address it.
Okay, I'm going to address it. You don't get to decide if the word's diluted.
She doesn't get to decide.
Hang on. You don't get to decide if a word's diluted or
you're a joke.
JT. Shh.
You can't decide who decides what. It's a conversation.
JT, do you want to touch my beard? You want to touch my beard, JT? Is that what it is? Is that what all this fuss is about?
This guy's a fucking joke.
JT, run your fingers through it. If this is what all this fuss is about, just go ahead and knock it out, dude.
What the fuck?
Now, like I said, Danny,
I'm not trying to decide. I'm just having a discussion because that's the topic.
You're saying that by doing this, it's hurting the black indigenous people community. You can't decide what
I'm saying we are having a discussion about racism, right? So when you put something up on the board and you're like, let's have a discussion. I'm not trying to decide. I'm giving you my thoughts on it, right? Because that's what a discussion is about, right? I'm not saying
can't deny.
I'm not going up to Liv and being like, Liv, I don't want you to use this. I don't tell people. I never do that. I'm saying this is what I think. When you dilute a word like that, it takes away its power. It takes away its.
Dana, listen to me very clearly. That's because in your world, racism is philosophical, right? In your world, racism, the power of racism is in the word. But to people that are actually affected by racism, it's a real thing. It's not philosophical. It's a tangible thing.
Right, it is a real thing. I agree with that.
Hang on. Stop talking, please. So, no matter how many times you say it, the effects of racism remain the same because it's not being addressed. Just like Let's just say police brutality. Talking about it all the time doesn't lessen the effects of it, does it? You have to address what causes it. Racism's the same thing, but to you, a white woman who doesn't experience racism, everything's in the words. It's only in the words. If you say it too much, it dilutes it to you. But to people that are affected by racism, trust me, saying it a lot doesn't change the effects of racism. And if we stop talking about it, nobody will
Johnny,
change.
I never said to stop talking about it. You're hijacking my whole entire argument. So stop.
Yeah.
So if we stop talking about it or using it less, right, then we don't address the concerns that are causing the racism and the white supremacy. That's the response to you.
Not hijacking my arguments. Okay, be intellectually honest. That isn't what I said at all. I think we should address police brutality. I think we should address inequality in our education system. I think we should address all of those very real instances of racism. What I don't think we should do is call everybody you see a racist because they have a different opinion than you. I think we should talk about it. I think we should focus on solutions. I think all of that stuff. And you know damn well that's what I was saying.
I don't know damn well that. So number one, if you break your leg,
he diverts the conversation.
If you break your leg where you're in physical pain, you got physically something wrong with you. No matter how much I talk about it, the physical pain stays the same.
I did say not to talk about it.
Hang on. Again, diluting the word isn't a real thing. That's not a real thing. Number two, you said you can't call everybody racist because they think differently. Nobody says it because you think different than anybody. We say it because you think like a white supremacist.
Sometimes
those people were educated on the subject. Would they say that? Of course they would not, right? So if you speak on it, then I know that you're uneducated on it. If you're a white person who's uneducated on white supremacy, then you are de facto a participant in the system of white supremacy. Passive as it may be, I don't care. A passive participant in a system is still a participant in a system. And if you're a cog in the wheel that turns white supremacy around and that white supremacy harms other people, you are a white supremacist, active or passive. It makes no never mind.
So you don't see the difference between those people that say, oh, blah, 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 whatever. I know what it's called is tokenizing. Okay. So what you call tokenizing. Sure. Between somebody slipping up and saying, oh, my black kid or my black boyfriend.
It's not slipping up. It's coming from a place of uneducation.
Okay. I hear you. But do you see the difference between that and somebody who goes out like a policeman that will go out and racially profile?
Well, I see a difference between that. Hang on. Are you asking me, do I see the difference between passive white supremacists and active white supremacists? Sure, I do. I see the difference between a passive white supremacist and an active white supremacist. Do you know that when the American Army went to Vietnam, that air power, ground power, and personnel, equipment, we had the far superior force and we got our asses kicked? Do you know why?
No, I don't know that much about Vietnam, to be honest.
Right, that's okay. That's okay. It's because the Vietnamese army had the support of the people, the villages, because the American army, first of all, was fucking gross and disgusting. So the people provided support, cover, aid.
What a joke.
Aid to the Vietnamese people. So with a less equipped, less advanced army, they whooped our ass, because you don't need a lot of active participants if you have enough passive participants. So whenever we talk about white supremacy, active white supremacists would be stomped out and have nowhere to go if they did not find safe spaces amongst passive white supremacists. That's why when we see things like Charlottesville, Charlottesville, where people were marching, there was active white supremacists in that crowd and a bunch of other people that looked at them carrying schmaltzy flags, saying schmaltzy things, and didn't check them, didn't kick them out of the crowd, didn't do anything, because outside of their active schmaltzy sayings, they believe the same things, and all of their other beliefs are the same. So they give them a free pass on the schmaltzyism. That's called passive white supremacy. So I know when I hear people talk like that, that those same people will go amongst other groups of people and active white supremacy conversations will happen and they won't shut it down. In fact, they'll co-sign it. A passive white supremacist is as dangerous as an active white supremacist. You not understanding that does not make it a problem. It means there's a gap in your knowledge.
So this guy is a sheep.
So I kind of agree with you, Jolly. I agree with you in some instances. There are passive people that are racist and just kind of keep their mouth shut like kind of like what you said. But I also believe that some of those people, like for instance, that old lady that you guys had on before, she was saying some stuff that was, what's her name? The lady that was on, the old lady, I forgot her name, Becky. Okay, Becky. Like I think she is the type of person who would call out active white supremacy. And when she told that story, you guys were all like, oh, like laughing at her. She slipped up. She made a mistake. Like, do you honestly think that lady? I mean, I just have met her. This is the first time I've seen her. Right? What does that say? I can't see what it says.
Yeah, what are we looking at?
He's probably mocking me because he doesn't want to address what I'm saying.
It says white silence is violence, is what it says, right? Silence is violence. And I'm saying to you also, let me just also say this.
Oh, this guy's a joke.
The active white supremacy is not just saying slurs or doing. Active white supremacy is advocating for laws and things that disproportionately disaffect marginalized communities. Active white supremacy is not stepping up and dismantling systems that you benefit from, but that disproportionately disaffect marginalized communities. So you think active white supremacy is, wearing a robe, burning a cross, and screaming the N-word. Nope. Active white supremacy is continuing to support
this guy
the systems that promote white supremacy.
This guy is dividing the country.
He's what?
This guy is dividing the country.
No, he's not dividing the country, dude. We're so far divided. He's not doing it. But
he's trying.
No, Jolly. I don't think I'm with you that like active white supremacy isn't just burning a cross or doing all of that other stuff. But I also think that Democrats are guilty of it, or people on the left. I think it's been condescending, and this is where I see it the most. Okay, and this irritates me. It's like when teachers, I see it in education, when teachers put low expectations, and they do this.
You're down, stupid.
When teachers put low expectations on certain types of students, and they do it, and these are always left-leaning people, and they do it in the guise of being loving and kind and all that bullshit, where they don't push certain students to their limit and so on and so forth. So to me, so my point is, it comes from both sides of the political spectrum, and you only seem to be concerned with calling it out on the right because you dislike people, because you dislike Trump supporters, and I don't. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, no, this guy is all about the black community.
That's not, people in the comments are saying, that's not related to this conversation. Yeah, it's not related because you on the left don't want to call out your own passive white supremacy. You don't want to face that. You don't want to face it. Jolly, did you hear what I said? Were you listening?
I heard you. You made a false equivalency, and they already called you out on it. So,
Jolly,
that's not a false equivalency.
Jolly's taking over this whole.
Jolly's the only one awake, friend.
I'm awake.
I mean, of Dantrell and Liv, the host.
of the people on the left. Jolly, you think it's a false equivalency? Do you see why it would be harmful?
Jolly's a turd.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, Johnny, do you see why it would be harmful to put low expectations on kids? Why that could very much.
Dana, this is where you have a gap in knowledge. What you call low expectations, I call a correction of expectations, because standardized testing has, and until it's changed, always will benefit white kids, because
that's not what I'm talking about when I say low expectations. I've spoken out about standardized testing.
Dana, let me finish my point. I'm not just talking about standardized testing, but standardized testing has always been a white supremacist tactic. So when I extrapolate from the understanding of white supremacy or standardized testing and why it's white supremacy, we look at the other things, the IQ test that you brought up earlier, other things, the standards that have been set forth. Those standards as a whole have been put in place to benefit white kids.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's not what I'm talking about, though.
Hang on. So what you call lowering the standards actually is just changing the standards from the white supremacist standard that's always existed. Did you have you still think that white supremacist standard is the standard?
No, I don't. And you have told me. So see, this is how I know you're being disingenuous, because I have had conversations with you just tonight about how I think standardized testing is a bunch of bullshit. And I don't think that we measure progress based on that. I'm talking about whatever expectations you have in your class, be it progress, be it a kid, gaining social skills, whatever, however me as a leader and a teacher, how I measure a success for my child, for my students, right? Like, I don't just measure their success by how they do on a test. I measure, have they made friends? Or have they gained social skills? Have they made progress? Are they able to have comprehension skills? Like, of course, I write my own test. That's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is when teachers are like, oh, these poor kids, their parents are so bad. They come from such hard homes, like in their condescending ways. That's what I'm referring to. Maybe you haven't worked in education, but it's very, very common. And since you like to read a lot, I want you to read a book. I think you would like this. It's called The Low Expectation. It's called The Low Expectations of Soft Bigotry. It's an education book. And I read it when I got my master's in education, and it describes exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So it is a real thing. I'm not just talking about, of course, we all know standardized testing is a bunch of bullshit. I'm not stupid, despite what you're thinking. Like, I've lived life.
Where this conversation is about to go is so exhausting. Listen to me.
Because you don't want to call out your own side, Jolly. You don't want to do it. You won't do it.
I don't care. I don't mind calling out any fucking body. Why do I give a fuck? That's what you don't understand about my side. We're not looking to fucking appease each other. We don't give a fuck. But let me just say something to you. I'm going to say again. Our entire education system was built around standards and expectations as measured against white kids. Okay. So any change of that expectation is not lowering it. It's adapting it to make a more inclusive system as the way it should be. All right. And don't you agree also that children who live in poverty will have a more difficult time, generally speaking, inside of a standardized school system? Yes, you would agree with that. I don't give a fuck. That's true. And when I look at
not if they have good teachers. No, not if they have a good teacher. I think
your anecdotal fucking ideas don't matter to actual analytics that have discovered that children who live in poverty face more difficulties at school. Okay. And so when I look at the data and I see that 22% of Black America lives in poverty, 25% of Indigenous America lives in poverty, but only 9% of white America lives in poverty, that means only 9% of white America is affected by the same things in schooling that 22% of Black America and 25% of Indigenous America are affected by. So if the standards are set for this group over here and only 9% of that group is hurt by those standards, but 22% of this group, it's not lowering expectations, it's changing them, and they should have changed years before now.
Jolly, so you're under you are under the assumption that as teachers we do not recognize that the majority of us do not recognize that the standardized testing system is a bunch of shit, and that we don't have our own individualized expectations for our classroom. That just shows how out of touch you are. So
it's not. I literally just said not.
So I get what you were saying. Yes, within the standardized testing system, children from poverty do not do as well. But what I think is that they have all the potential to do as well and get as good as an education because they gain other skills at home. It may not be the same skills. I think a kid helping out at home, like I had students that would help their family in a restaurant, right? That kid is gaining other types of skills, not the same, but different skills that are just as valuable, if that makes sense.
Dana, I don't know if you're actually a teacher, but let's pretend like you are.
And you don't need to throw insults, okay? You don't need to.
I don't know. People get on TikTok and say lots of fancy things.
Okay, cool.
Are you a teacher in Utah where you live?
Yeah, I teach at a very diverse school in terms of like we have students from all over the world.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Hang on, JT.
Because you're going to start putting down Utah and saying it's all white, but not all of it is all white. I get where you're going.
1.6% of Utah is Black. 1.6. So being a teacher in Utah and giving us the speech about how to deal with diverse classrooms.
Dude, 8% of my students are white at the school that I work at. Only 8%.
That's fresh, Dana.
Because you don't understand. You don't understand the demographics of Utah. You don't get it. You've never been here. Salt Lake City. What?
You shouldn't be working at that school.
Okay, cool. You don't know the least thing about me.
You're a conservative Trump supporter who doesn't.
But you don't know the way I teach, so that doesn't offend me.
I don't think you should work at the school if it's 8% white students and you're 100% a white supremacist. Then it's not a good idea.
I'm not because again, you calling me 100% a white supremacist because I disagree with you about something. Because I haven't said anything white supremacist. I haven't said anything in that regards. You could twist my words, but you calling me 100% white supremacist, you having no idea of what Utah is actually like, what the city that I live in.
Dana. Is 88.6% of Utah white? Is 88.6% of Utah white?
Yes, but not the city that I live in.
What's the percentage of population in Utah? 1.6?
Yeah, but we have lots of Polynesian people here. We have lots of... What?
I'm just saying, for you to be a teacher in Utah talking about how to deal with diversity in the classroom is fresh.
Okay, cool. No, it's not, because you are uneducated as to what Utah is actually like. You're going off of you probably watched Sixth Wave or something like that, or maybe, I don't know what you watched. Watch some BYU documentary. You don't know.
I don't watch TV.
Okay, then how the hell do you know what Utah is like? How the hell do you know? You've never been here. You haven't experienced it.
Have my numbers been wrong so far?
Your numbers have been, so you do not think there are pockets in the major city of Utah that are diverse? I've already explained to you that we help refugees. We have Polynesians come to the city. We have a large Hispanic population. So the only type of minorities are not black people. We are a diverse city.
If I take everybody, Dana, basic math says if I take every single other racial group outside of white and add them together, I'm going to come up with 11.4%. That's basic math. Okay. 11.4%. And you want me to believe that you teach at a school where only 8% of the student population is white?
Right, because you just don't understand the demographics.
I call cap.
And how does that matter?
So you can call a cap, dude, it doesn't make you correct. I have no reason to lie to you about this. I don't give a shit what you think about me, to be honest. I'm just trying to engage in conversation to actually come up with solutions for the problems. Because this is something I feel passionately about. So I have no reason to lie to you, right? I don't have any reason to lie to you. I have been through shit you can imagine. So you don't know jack shit about me, where I've lived, what I've been through. So don't assume. My point is, you're so quick to assume. Don't.
I just trust numbers, Dana.
Trust numbers.
I'm a facts over feelings guy, Dana.
Okay, facts over feelings.
Dana, if the math ain't mathing, then I don't buy it.
Okay. I will give you some neighborhoods I want you to look these up. Neighborhoods in Salt Lake City, Utah, and you can look up the demographics if you so choose to. If you want to get out of your comfort zone. I know it's hard not to always believe what you want to believe, and sometimes.
Dana, you give me the school. I'll look up the school demographics.
I'm not going to tell you where I work, but I can give you a different
solution.
Because I don't trust people on this app, right?
No, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about because you work there. That's a good point. Don't put where you work out. Right. But I like. Whatever. I don't believe. Pull those. No, then you just pull another one up.
No, I can just tell you a neighborhood.
I just don't believe there's an 8% fucking.
You don't believe there was a school that has 8%?
How do you fix it?
Fix what, dude?
KT, do you even know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I got a really good idea what we're talking about. So we're all bitching. We're all bitching and debating. So how do you fix it? Somebody give me a clear.
He's going to say by not voting for
about how to fix the fucking problem.
Okay, JP. In your case,
and you can't even pronounce my fucking name correctly. What does that say about you?
In your case, the problem is not washing your hands. We fix it by washing.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
You asked.
Kayla in the comments. I just want to, because there's somebody else from Utah in the comments. I want to ask them. Are there parts of Salt Lake City that are diverse? And be honest about this. Like anybody who's been to Salt Lake City, they understand the demographics. Like unless you've lived in a place, it's hard to get it. Right? Like I would never dare to tell you, Jolly, where are you from?
hashtag JP.
Like, I would never try to tell you, I think you said you were from Chicago or something like that.
I'm from North Carolina. I've talked about it.
I don't give a fuck where you're from.
I would never tell you what North Carolina is like, because I've been there. I visited North Carolina, but I can't pretend to tell you what it's like, because unless you've lived in a place, you've experienced it, you just don't know, right?
Well, this guy's a stupid bitch. And let me tell you something. So, in order to solve, listen to him.
Let me tell you something.
Are you done? Let me know when you're done.
Hey, to the person in the comments, they're like, it's barely diverse. So maybe that person lived in Provo,
this
Utah.
Fucking guy's
yeah, there are pockets of Utah that are very, very white. Like Provo, Utah is very white. Like that's where BYU is at. Like Bountiful, Utah. Yeah, there are some very, very, like very white parts of Utah. Right. But then but you have to understand that, like, because Salt Lake City is the only major city in the state, that's where most of the diversity is. So that's where most of your 11% is. If that makes sense. I mean, and we aren't a racist state, despite what everybody thinks. We just aren't. That just isn't what LDS people are like.
Hang on. The white lady said they're not racist. It's okay. It's got to be true. Got to be true.
I mean, no more so than any other state.
Yeah, and there he goes with the Blakeism.
And me being white doesn't have anything to do with me telling you that comparing my state to other states.
You as a white woman doesn't get to decide what is and what isn't racist.
But neither do you then. But you don't.
I never do. I don't.
You said Utah is, last time we talked, you said Utah is a racist state. It's everything I hate about the United States. Right. All of this shit.
Right. Because people have told us, hey, that's racist. Okay. So I listened to them.
Somebody in the comments just said Salt Lake City is more different.
Hey, Liv, how do you let this guy take over your life?
He's asleep, dude. He goes to like 7 different lives at once. He doesn't care.
He's also asleep right now.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Charlie, I just wish you, because you seem like an intelligent person, I wish you would open your eyes and not just be like so one-sided. Like, it's okay to read different things. It's okay to listen to different perspectives with an open mind. I genuinely try to do it all the time. Right. But you're just so set in your ways. You're like, oh, this. Like, do you ever just think, oh, maybe I'm wrong about something?
Yeah, when I'm wrong, I just admit it.
Jal is a fucking joke.
And that's kind of what bugs me about some people on this platform. I truly do try to listen. I know everybody's like, oh, you don't learn anything, blah, blah, blah. I do learn, but I'm not just going to blindly accept something.
All right.
Well, he won't admit anything.
Hang on. Everybody pause. Let's listen, okay? I've pulled up all the cities in Utah, all right? And I've arranged them by population of white people. So if Dana is correct, at some point, there'll be a city with a population of 8% white people, okay, according to Dana, okay? So let's just see.
You a neighborhood. Can I give you some neighborhoods or like areas?
No. Stop. Just stop. We got to do one thing at a time. So this is the top of the list where I can see cities that are 100% white. I want to point this out. And there's a lot of them. I want to point out how it's super diverse. This is 100% white. 100 fucking percent. There's 43 cities that are 100% white. But rather than go down this way, let's just go to the bottom of the list.
So you're against white people?
JT, dude, listen. You're entertaining, so I'm leaving you here, but you're about to get booted. You interrupt me again. All right, so I'm going to go to the bottom of the list. The very, 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 very bottom of the list. And right here in Garden City, Utah is 27%. And then it drops right here. I got Alhato, Monument Valley, Fort Dutchnese, Montezuma Creek, Aneth, and Navajo Mountain. And those are the only 5 places where the white population is below 27%. What are those locations, Dana?
Okay, so what you're doing is you're looking at whole cities. I'm asking you to look at certain neighborhoods within the main big city. I want you to look up something like West Valley City or Glendale. All of those types of, they're like little pockets within the big city.
They always have a what if.
No, because you're looking at a whole city, dude. I believe you probably were looking at some cities that
What fucking city? What neighbor?
Okay, look up like West Valley, Glendale. I'm trying to think.
West Valley City?
Yeah, it's part of Salt Lake City. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. They always got to. Okay, well, I was proven wrong there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right, here's the numbers for West Valley City. The 5 largest ethnic groups in West Valley City, Utah are white at 45%, other at 24%, Hispanic other. So non-white Hispanic 45%, other Hispanic 24%, white Hispanic 9.79%. Here we go. Hispanic 5.7%, Asian non-Hispanic 4.85%. So we're looking for this right here, white 9.79%.
So wait, what was it? So is it majority white or non? Majority white or non-white?
Yes, majority white. White, non-Hispanic. White, non-Hispanic. White, non-Hispanic.
Okay, what I can't see the numbers, so just tell me again. What are those numbers?
45% white, dude.
So that's less than a majority. That's less than half of the people are white in that city, right? So
didn't she say?
So within West Valley City, dude, there are some neighborhoods, like for an elementary school, there are neighborhoods within that city, because even those cities, as you know, those cities often are segregated. Like that's just how it is, right? So within West Valley City, there are certain pockets within that city that have a large population of non-white people. West Valley City is a big city. It's a big city. Less than half of the people are white. So you can't envision there being some neighborhoods that are not all that are minority white, very, very minority white. Like, why would I lie to you? What reason do I have to lie?
You're not lying. You're just not correct.
Okay.
You understand how that works? You understand how it works? You're just not right. You're just wrong. You understand?
How so?
Because he's looking at West Valley. He doesn't get that there are some neighborhoods that are nice. He just doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what North Carolina's like. I don't know. Maybe it's maybe neighborhoods are not. Maybe
Dana.
Yeah.
I know that I'm sure there's a street that you can drive down somewhere in the city, and the people that live on that street could potentially not. There might be 1 or 2 white people on that street. There's a potentiality of that. But that does not extrapolate into a neighborhood or a city. A city is already a pretty narrow thing. So to break it down by neighborhood, I mean, you're reaching. If you got to reach that far, your point's probably not made.
It's all an assumption.
Okay. So my point being is that, okay, the more affluent neighborhoods are going to have the more wealthy people in them, correct? And so
that's what affluent means.
Yes. Okay. My point is, so somebody in the comments is like, she's saying nice neighborhoods. So my point being is that white people are going to live in the more affluent, nice, upper class neighborhoods, right?
Mathematically, more money, or the white community has a lower rate of poverty. So mathematically, that comment will be correct.
Right, because people in the comments are like, you're a racist for having said that. Like, do you get why that's disingenuous? Like, we can't have real conversations about stuff. I was just talking to the comments, not you. Sorry, my bad. But my point is, there are neighborhoods within the Salt Lake City Valley